For me, in terms of comedy, like I don't think it's necessary just like the topic. I think it's a complex of the topic, what you have to say on it, and where you're coming from when you say it. Like I feel like you can do a joke about sugar, which is something very innocuous, but it can be very, very harmful depending on how you say it and who you say it to and what you're saying. So I don't usually tend to go with like, oh, he mentioned the R word or oh, he
What's
mentioned
the R word, sorry?
Roger.
Oh, no,
I was trying not to mess up his algorithm by saying the word.
Oh, no, I didn't know what you meant. Sorry.
So you might not want to, but I think if you make a joke that says like, for example, if you make a joke about African people, right? If the butt of the joke is always look how silly they are, or look how uneducated they are, the accent is just funny in and of itself. I don't tend to go for that, right? Now, does that mean that there aren't funny things about Africans? Yes, there are. But I wouldn't make the joke personally. Like, if I'm going to talk about my parents, I'm going to give them a bit more depth. I'm going to let them be a human being. I'm not going to reduce them to just an accent and over-the-top foolishness or being very stupid and not being able to pronounce words properly. That, for me, is what I wouldn't do. But that's because of my agenda in terms of why I do comedy. Why do I speak? I speak because I kind of got points to make, and I find that comedy is a very clever.
Can I show you something? I'll tell you what you can get away with. You see, I was laughing about height. What I realize here, from Twitter especially, I run jokes all day. Yeah. But I only run jokes on men.
Of course. Yeah.
Anything men related, I could run jokes about your legs, you not being able to bench 100k, your belly, things like that.
You talking about me personally? Just
no, I'm just saying.
No, I just You're bro.
No, bro, you're as I was saying it.
No, because the way he's
tensing up like.
No, because the way he tried to say everything, I'm just making sure that you know what I mean.
But you get what I'm saying? I could run jokes all day. On men.
Yeah.
Specifically straight men.
Yeah.
I don't run no jokes on women, no jokes on the LGBTQ community, all of that. Yeah. Everything like that, I avoid.
Just go back to your point. What I've learned, because back in the day I used to do all that nonsense. The accents, the this, that, making people, reducing people to basically
caricature.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If I'm busting joke, I can't punch down on people. You understand what I'm trying to say?
But isn't that what comedy kind of, isn't that what humour is? Isn't that what we...
Well, funny enough, like every joke requires a descent of power, right? Someone has to go from a high status to a low status in every joke. Even if it's you, the person listening, somebody you're joking about, there's always a descent in power in every joke. But here's what the key is here. It's what's your intent and what you're trying to get across. And how, you know, if you're being very ignorant about something, there's times where people will allow you to be ignorant, but there's a certain level of ignorance for each person. Each person decides this is too ignorant for me, right?
It depends on the IQ of the crowd.
Even the most ignorant crowd have a level of ignorance that they're going to be like, nah, this is too ignorant.
No, there was one time,
and so you have to decide for yourself. That's the part. There's no rule.
Okay, but would you say that? Would you say generally the things that we make jokes about bear on stereotypes? And my question now is that, do you not feel there's a truth to stereotypes? So you see the kind of things that we discuss. Most jokes will boil down to a stereotype sometime, like a stereotype of maybe short men or Nigerians or Jamaicans, or it used to be like a stereotype.
If you want to get technical, right? Every joke consists of three things, right? There's a premise, there's a setup, there's a punchline. Okay. The premise is the information you need to know in order to find this joke funny, right? So you know that women like shopping, so I can make this joke that insinuates something about women liking shopping. Stereotypes are the short form. That's the things that we've already agreed that we all know. And then they may be true, they may not be true, but they're kind of things that we've heard before. That's what helps us get to the joke.
So it's the easiest way to tell a joke. Demons.
Yes.
We've got two married friends here.
It's easy way to tell a joke.
But they can still be demons in marriage.
The premise is clear. But if I want to tell a joke about something that's a bit more...
These times I'm trying to promote Yoruba guys and boost you up as a comedian.
No, I'm saying because the way these two trans they're married, their bands on their ring.
I'm not madly triggered. I'm not going to lie to you, bro.
No, it's because you came with me the moment you came in here about my hairline, and that's...
we never gave it about your hairline. We just asked, back off your head, your hoodie. No, continue, please.
So all I'm saying is that if you're going to tell a joke that doesn't have a stereotype behind it already, you've got way more work to do. And so I just see it as lazy, but it's still the same concept. If I have to tell you a joke about something you have no idea about, I have to give you certain amounts of information.
Some context, basically.
Context, exactly, for the joke to be funny. But if I give you a stereotype, we already have the context. If I already tell you that Yoruba men cheat on their wives as a context, then I can build up jokes on that for the longest. You see a Yoruba man out with blah, blah, blah.
Couldn't a Yoruba man be offended by your joke and be like, you know, Ola, I think your comedy skills is really good, but you see what you're doing, you've got a big platform, you're talking about Yoruba men.
He's gonna
already,
be
you know, we
offended
find it difficult as Yoruba men to break the stereotype. So I'd prefer if you didn't do that, Ola. Now, it's almost as if anything you say now, there's always going to be the opposite end who are not happy with it. So my thing is, where does one draw the boundary when it comes to stereotypes?
I think first of all, people need to get out the idea that they're not supposed to be offended. Like, you're going to be offended. You're going to be offended in this life. Whoever told you you have a right to not be offended lied to you. It's just a fact. Because if we're going to pursue truth in any way, we have to accept the danger that comes with it, which is that we might get offended. I might find out something about myself. Like if I ask you to tell me who am I really, like tell me who I am, tell my personality. I have to be willing to accept that you might say something that might offend me. If I don't want that, then I don't want to hear the truth.
And that's why I find it funny when people say you shouldn't judge, because people say you shouldn't judge. If I tell you you're good at singing or you're good looking, I've judged you. We judge regardless. So if you're going to say don't judge anyone, that means if you're going to take the bad, you must take the good. Like it's a 50-50 thing. But I just think with stereotypes that we have, I just feel that, especially when it comes to political correctness. I just don't know how.
You don't even know how to speak. You're there trying to say big words. This is what I'm saying about this guy, bro. This is what I'm trying to say about this. This is why you were food at school, bro. You can't even be there stuttering over political correctness. See how that flowed out my mouth? Political correctness. This guy's struggling. And he wants to come for me.
What is
Diction. You know, do this. Ma, pa, 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 ba, 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 ba. You do that. I went drama school. If you do that every day, you'll be in there.
We got some comedians today. We got some comedians in there today. No, it's good. It's cool. It's cool.
You know that's a typical Nigerian thing. You know when someone's speaking, see your mouth.
It's cool. You know when they let the pit bull off the leash? It's fine. It's cool. It's cool. No, that's all right. No. I can take it. I can take it.
I love that.
I can take it.
And to be honest, I feel like that's what Shees was saying was really important, because, you know, often in a lot of medieval king's courts, they would have a jester. The jester is actually really important because the jester is the only one who can tell the king the truth, because there's always the air that he might be joking. So you could say, oh, the king is taking up more space than usual today. That's the only way you can tell the king you're getting fat, right? Because he might be joking. You know what I'm saying? So the part that comedians play in disseminating truth so that people can accept it in a certain way is very, very important. But you have to be willing to be offended. So when guys get around and I roast you for this, well, you made a comment I don't know if the camera was on at that time about my belly. Now, in my estimation, I know I've got a big belly, but I might not know how I'm viewed, right? So if I go out and solicit information like, how do you guys see me? Do you see me as like a big belly guy? I might.
Why'd you laugh at that?
Let's say I was
setting up the joke. Don't try it. No. Let me say something to you. Our IQ level is here.
Wow.
Just chill.
Chill.
That's what I'm saying. On guard, son. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. We can. You want to roast today? No problem. It can happen.
Watch when the